be away. What page are we doing today?
217.
Yes.
217. Okay.
Okay. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. I'm Earl Purdy, and welcome to Facebook Live, and welcome to in-person. Let's hear this together in person.
Yes.
So I love A Course in Miracles. I've been 40 years, I've been working with this material, and I am so glad I have, because it's made my life so much easier in so many ways that I can't even describe to you. It's the truth. It challenges the heck out of you, but it delivers on its promises. The Course in Miracles will challenge you, but it delivers on its promises.
Amen.
The Course in Miracles will challenge you, but it delivers on its promises. The Course in Miracles will challenge you, but it delivers on its promises. But it will challenge you. It will challenge you. It will challenge you. Do you know that when most people say that they're ready to change, what they're saying is, how can I stay exactly the way I am without the suffering it entails? You know, what I really want to do is pretty much stay exactly the way I am, but I don't want to go through all the things that being exactly the way I am and the way I express myself brings to me. So as soon as you introduce something different from what the person already believes, many times it just brings up a lot of resistance. But that's what you're here for, to hear something different from what you normally believe. There might be something totally new. There might be something totally different, because new means different. New means different. So if we can let go of our addiction or a resistance to hearing anything different from what we already believe, then we can hear something new, and then we can decide later on if we want to accept that and apply that to our experience. So I see myself as the divine repetition remembering teacher. My goal after reading this book well over 100 times and teaching it and learning it for 40 years is, how can I allow this to come through me in such a way that people can hear what it's saying in more plain language. Just hear what it's saying. So I never defend the Course, because I didn't write it. So I don't feel any need to defend the Course in Miracles to anybody in any kind. But besides, the Course in Miracles says that defense is just a request for attack anyway. So I try to do this radical thing, which is I try to practice what it says. It's a radical concept, but it's what I try to do as best I can. Thank you, darling. So what we want to do first is we want to adopt the attitude that the Course in Miracles suggests that we adopt if we want to hear what it's saying. So in the Course in Miracles workbook, it describes what I look at as being the way that we should approach the whole Course in Miracles, the attitude to take in studying the Course in Miracles. And it says that there's only one thing you need to remember. There's just only one thing you need to remember. Hey, y'all. Y'all get the cutest little things over there. Put your robe on. Okay. That's right. Take your robe off. Thank you for sharing. And the Course in Miracles says that you know, we need to lighten up. That, you know, he said the way that we got in the world of separation and fear to begin with as souls is that we remembered not to laugh.
Right.
So, and then what is it that many true students pride themselves on being? Just as serious as they can possibly be. So the Course in Miracles is suggesting that we be sincere, but it's not saying we should be serious. Yes. So we're going to be sincere, but I have no desire to be serious. There's enough seriousness going on. You know, the coronavirus is everywhere. Yes. Do you know that that's what they've been? I was telling some friends the other day that there's they're Googling the heck out of Corona beer right now. That's the truth. People are actually wanting to know if there's a connection between the coronavirus and Corona beer. So that I know that there's a lot of people that has a big sigh of relief when they realize it's not connected, you know. So, not about the state of the whole world, it's can I get some beer? That's what I want to know. Can I get some beer?
I thought it was an anecdote.
That's right.
That I was supposed to.
And then there's some type of tequila or vodka or something, they're telling people to stop trying to make hand sanitizer out of this vodka or tequila or something. And when I hear all this stuff, it really makes me appreciate what the Course in Miracles says about the world, which is, we're totally freaking insane.
Amen.
So we're going to be on page 217 in the Judgment of the Holy Spirit, chapter 12, the text, page 217 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course, paragraph 9. I'm going to go through it, and then I'm going to go through it. And we're going to see, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be listening from the perspective of what is it that we're being told to do? What are the instructions that we need? That if we follow these instructions, we'll have more peace of mind. And the Course says if we have more peace of mind, we can hear our inner guidance. That all of us are receiving inner guidance from Spirit. It says we don't hear the inner guidance because we're listening to the conversation in our heads that we are making up.
Dance break. Should we all get up and dance?
That up in my head.
See, that's coming from our head.
From our head?
That's right, we are making everything. So here are the guidelines. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively exist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. What did you say? Some of the ideas I will find hard to believe. And others may seem to be quite startling. Some of the ideas from the Course in Miracles may startle you. Some of the ideas from the Course may startle you. May startle you. Then it says, you are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. I always like to say, show me that the ideas are true, Holy Spirit. Show me that the ideas are true. Because it says using it will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. And so I'm going to start at paragraph 9. We said basically what we covered so far in the other episodes was that the Course in Miracles says that you never respond to anything directly. You're always responding to your interpretation of it. And it says that there are two things happening in the world. Loving thoughts are calls for love, calls for help, and calls for healing. Then it told us that the reason why we don't want to see what somebody else is doing as a call for love and a call for help is that we have an imagined need to go off on them and to attack them. And then the Course in Miracles told us that we needed to have to recognize fear. And that the first stage was to recognize it, but you also have to undo it. And the way that you undo fear, according to the Course, is reinterpret what you see fear as being. So fear is to be seen as a call for help, a call for love, and a call for healing. So whenever you see any form of fear, anger, grievance, or upset, and you say it's a call for love, a call for help, or a call for healing, then the Course is saying that's actually you recognizing what it is. So recognizing fear is merely identifying fear for what it really is. So that's what it means to recognize fear. It means if I'm going off and I'm angry and I'm afraid, instead of, you're supposed to say, Earl has a deep call for help, a deep call for healing, and a deep call for love right now. That if there's any anger, violence, an attack, sickness, lack in any way, anywhere, any upset, anywhere, any depression, any grievance, a conscious being sees it as a call for love, a call for help, a call for healing. An unconscious being sees it as an attack in some way, or is tempted not to see it as a call for love, a call for help, and a call for healing. Now, the Course says that the reason why a person would unconsciously not want to see it as a call for help, a call for love, and a call for healing is that that's also their refusal to have themselves helped. So if I don't see it as a call for help, the Course says, then you're going to be refusing help. Because then when you're feeling those things, the universe is going to reflect always back to you and your perception, your own consciousness. So if I see everything around me as an attack and not as a call for help, then when I'm going through one, that's the kind of consciousness and perceptions I'll attract to me. So the Course is saying that when you don't want to see it as a call for love, that's a refusal for help for yourself. And it also said in the earlier part of this section that the only appropriate response to anybody is appreciation, because they're either making a call for love, which reminds you of love, or they're actually expressing love, which is a reminder of love. So in both cases, they're making you conscious of love. Whatever you're conscious of is what you perceive. So the more I'm conscious of love, even if it's seeing your call for love, that keeps me aware of love. And if I'm expressing love, it also keeps me aware of love. So one of the major tenets of metaphysics and higher consciousness is that our thoughts create our reality. That it's our thoughts that determine what we see. So the Course in Miracles is something that is not teachable to someone who at some level does not want to go beyond seeing themselves as a victim. So the Course is not for everyone. The Course in Miracles says it's for those who are partially sane. So that's the Course giving us a compliment.
That's the best.
That's it. I want y'all to know that y'all are partially sane, which is a lot better than being totally insane, right? So the Course is saying to us that why? Because someone that's partially sane is someone who can listen to reason. Someone that's totally insane, they operate strictly from an emotional place based on the past and based on victim consciousness, so you can't reason with them. They don't want to see it any other way other than it's what everybody's doing to me and what everybody's done to me, and that's why I'm the way I am today. Have you all ever met anyone like that? Have you ever been someone like that?
Yes.
Were you once someone like that just before you came in?
Yes, I could have been like that.
Yes. I go conscious, unconscious, conscious, unconscious, conscious, 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 unconscious, conscious, 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 unconscious, unconscious, conscious, conscious, conscious. Then that's me by myself. Now when I get with somebody else, I go unconscious, 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 conscious, unconscious, unconscious, unconscious. If you were different, I'd be happy. If you were different, I would be happy. If you were different, I would be happy. If you were different, I'd be happy. If you were different, I'd be happy. That's what an unconscious person does all day long. If the government were different, I'd be happy. If the weather was different, I'd be happy. If my financial situation were different, I'd be happy. If I had a different partner, I'd be happy. If they came home for dinner on time, I'd be happy. If something outside of myself changed, I'd be happy. The Course in Miracles defines that as a grievance. That's its definition of a grievance. I'm trying to say you need to be different for me to be happy.
Right.
That's a grievance. And that's why I'm upset. Why? Because my happiness depends on your behavior. So when you change your behavior, then I'll be happy. And the Course in Miracles says that's a grievance.
That's the grievance.
That's a grievance. All of a sudden, I'm not enough. I don't care how you're acting. My long-term goal is for that not to affect me.
Thank you.
That I'll stay centered, that I'll stay loving, that I'll stay attuned to spirit no matter what you all do, at all.
Thank you.
But I used to spend most of my time railing against outside factors that I wished were different so that I could feel good. And I call that life. And did y'all hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the purpose of the course is to get rid of the blocks, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions you have that keep you from knowing that you are only loved, lovable, and loving.
Thank you.
That's what you are. You are only love. You are love. You are love. You don't have to put love in you, and you can't make love. That's something.
I tried.
I tried. I'm sure there's been some happy people that attempted to do it. Okay, now. The brothers out there didn't appreciate it to effort, I'm sure.
You're welcome.
I'm just
Thank you for helping me get out of hell. Okay. Little joke. Okay, so here we go. It's pretty much caught you up. But really, the repetition and remembering it is what we're supposed to do. Notice I didn't analyze anything. Nothing I just said to you was me sitting back analyzing the course at all. It was just me telling you what the Course in Miracles was saying. Okay. So let's go through this. Let's have some fun. It says fear is a symptom of your own deep sense of loss.
Right.
So what does that mean? Whenever you're feeling afraid, there's something you believe you're going to lose. No need to analyze that. Fear is a symptom of me feeling I'm going to lose in some way. Jealousy is a symptom of my own deep sense of loss. Lack is a symptom of my own deep sense of loss. Anger is because the Course says it's only love or fear. So I'm just giving different expressions of fear. Okay? If when you perceive fear in others, because it looks like we can see it in others, he says, then if when you see it in others, you learn to supply the loss, the basic cause of fear is removed. So what is the basic cause of fear? The idea that I can lose. What is the basic cause of fear? The idea that I can lose. I'm jealous because I believe I could lose. You know, fear is always a reflection, according to the Course, which we don't have to believe, of what? A deep sense of loss. When you get rid of the perception of loss, your fear will be gone. I think I lost my job. I have fear about that. Wow, the universe has presented me with another opportunity to give me some blessing that I never would have expected otherwise, because it looked like I got laid off. I'm not afraid now. Why? Because I don't think I lost by the job, being laid off on the job. So when the Course in Miracles, with the Course in Miracles, remember, it's always talking about perception. The Course in Miracles is always operating at the level of how you see things. That's very important. The Course in Miracles is not a book on how to get your soul made. It's not a book on how to make $1 million a year. It's not a book on how to be a successful entrepreneur. Even though I've watched all those things happen with people who really correct their perception and become more loving. It's almost like it's a side effect. That if you're loving yourself and treating yourself right, things in your life seem to flow more. So, but most people do it wrong. They think when they become the president of the company, they're going to be happy.
They're not.
When they get the house is going to make them happy. When coronavirus is solved, then we're going to be happy. And y'all know that's crap. Soon as it's healed, we'll come up with something else. Yeah, it'll become the election and the future, whatever. Like my mom used to say all the time, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
Yeah.
That's what they used to say all the time when I was going on my elders. So stop getting caught up on each particular thing. What you want to get in touch with is the cause of all of it. Right? And so the Course, so what we know the cause of all of it is based on just the first two sentences of what we've heard. There's a deep sense of loss in the world. And whether it's people thinking they're going to lose their life because of the virus, you're still looking at what? Fear of loss. Right? And so the Course in Miracles says, now suppose you knew you were eternal. Suppose you knew you were something that was spirit and that you were something that could never die. How concerned would you be about the virus?
You wouldn't.
Not very at all.
Not very at all. If you knew you were going to be okay no matter what, your fear would be gone.
That's right.
Right? And so the Course is saying, if you supply the loss, the basic cause of fear, it is removed, thereby what do? You teach yourself that fear doesn't exist in you. So how do you teach yourself that fear doesn't exist in you? You learn to supply the loss. You learn to supply the loss. Well, how did the Course in Miracles say you supply the loss? It says you supply the loss by recognizing it's either love or call for love. And you supply the loss by asking God, higher power, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? Because you're going to ask for guidance. No conscious being selects who they're going to help. The Course says consciously selected miracles. Me deciding who I'm going to help, that can be misdirected and misguided. So I'm not going to help you without asking if I should help you.
Nice.
Right? How do I know I should? I want to. How do I know probably the one is not to do it? I don't want to. Now, just because you don't want to, does that mean that the universe is not going to help me? No, the universe is going to help me through who can and able and wants to. So I'm not going to spend all my time trying to get you to do it if that's not what you want to do, because I know you're not the one that's supposed to be doing it. I'm a conscious being, so I know rule number one is someone that's sent to me by spirit will be someone who is fulfilling the function, not someone who I'm trying to convince to fulfill the function, because that's a big waste of time. The Course says the Holy Spirit knows who will do what it's asking them to do and will be able to. That spirit will, that whatever spirit wants you to do, you will be able to do it. See, this little stuff like this is what drew me to the Course. Because see, that makes sense to me. That if my Creator wanted me to do something, my Creator is smart enough to ask me to do the thing I want to do, and that I was able to do, that would get it done. Right? But if Spirit tells me to do something that I don't want to do, that's going to be a delay. Don't you see the reason and the logic behind that? Yeah, so let's make sure we blot that out. Okay, now, because you have to blot out reason, logic, and truth in order to stay in pain.
Right.
So you got to ignore everything that's true if you're a person that wants to suffer. Because if you practice the truth, you stop suffering. But if I don't think I deserve to be happy, then I don't want to stop my suffering, so I'm not going to do anything that's going to make my life better. Okay? And then it goes on to say, fear, he says, the means for removing the fear is where? In yourself. And how have you demonstrated it? He says, because you've given it. That's how I know. How do I know I have love to give you, a peace to give you? Because I give it. If I'm giving you peace, I know I have peace to give. So the only way I'm going to know I have anything is by giving it. The worst thing you can do when you're broke is hang on to your last dollar. You only got $1 because you don't share. That's why you see yourself as lacking, because you don't give. It's not funny how so many people who see themselves as not having tell themselves they're going to give the ones they have. Right? I call them the future givers of America. As soon as I get it, I'm going to be the most generous person in the world. Just as soon as I get it, I'm going to give it to you. I'm just the opposite. If I receive any form of lack, especially financial lack, then who can I give, who can I share something with? I'm going to say, hey, let's go out to lunch. My giving is down. Right? That's a universal law. That's true about anything you want. If I want more peace, I've got to give it. If I want more fun, I got to be a fun person. The dullest people in the world, we want fun people to ask them out. Right? And the fun people know that not asking them out is the key to their fun. Because nobody wants to go out with somebody that's a sourpuss judge. And you've seen them. Haven't you? You go to a social gathering and usually they're back up against the wall. You know. And,
There's a song about that.
You see Earl on top of the table in his underwear?
No, I have.
Hey! That's the advanced class, boy. That's the advanced class. That's the worst. That's the advanced class. I bet that go viral if I just went underwear. Check that out. If nothing else, just to judge the hell out of it. You know. The Course in Miracles says, Thursday night in the class I covered about the relinquishment of judgment. It was saying, you know, it's like, he said, it's impossible for you to judge. You can't judge. Give it up because you really can't do it. It isn't that you could do it. He says you can't judge correctly. Because you'd have to know everything about the person's past and everything they've gone through in their past. He said, then you'd have to know everything that they're going through right now. You have to know everything that's happening in their life right now to judge them correct. He said, and you'd have to know everything that's going to happen to them in the future. So he says, who in their right mind would think they knew that much about anybody? Right? So when I heard that, he kept saying, well, you can't judge. It isn't that you shouldn't judge so much as the truth is you can't do it. I don't know enough about you all to judge you. And then if I'm going to follow what this is saying, how should I be judging anything that I see if I have to judge?
Love or call for
Love or call for love. See how simple that is?
Yeah.
So even if I feel the need to judge you, how should I do it? Love or call for love. Then it satisfies my need to judge, and this judgment won't hurt me because it's love's judgment. Holy Spirit's judgment. So this is the way love would judge you. So I don't care what you've done. You can tell me what you've done. You can tell me your story. You can tell me what you did last night that you're feeling guilty about. But if I love you, I really don't care about your story. See, this is far beyond the average person. The average person wants to know every little detail about what you did so they can decide whether or not they're going to forgive you. Right? Right. They want to judge whether or not you're worthy of their forgiveness.
Yeah.
Somebody who loves you, who's already made the decision they're going to love you no matter what, then why tell any story?
Right.
Because how they're going to respond to you is not up for grabs. Right? Now, when you say that to some people, it brings up a great big yes, but. And some of y'all might have felt that. But what about? But what? But what do you mean? I don't need to know the story. Well, we're talking about real love. We're not talking about what we do now. So I'm not talking about what we do. I'm not talking about what we do. I'm talking about real love, not what we do. Because what we do is our bargains made with guilt. It's like we make contracts with people, and our love for them is conditional whether or not they keep the contract. Whatever they say. That's not love. That's just determining whether or not I'm going to treat you special or not. That's what that is. Okay, you go to bed with somebody else, and we made agreement you're going to be monogamous, and I'm all upset about that. I'm going to snatch my specialness back from you, and then might kill you too. Okay, so
But we're eternal, so.
yeah, we all eternal.
It's okay.
So it's okay. And you remember that when they put you away, I'm gonna live longer than this sentence I'm getting right here. So remember that, So my point is, there's a love that's unconditional, and there's a love beyond the love that the average person is able to do. And then what we do is we come up with bargains and conditions and scripts for people, and then we say if they do that, we'll love them. Now, if that's where you're at, that's your call for love. And also, honor yourself, honor your boundaries, keep your boundaries until you feel like you can negotiate beyond those. Because whatever boundary you've set up for yourself, whatever rule you've set up for yourself, you can always renegotiate those rules and change them. So right now, if you know you need a relationship that's in a certain form, we say in the world the most common one is monogamous, then make sure you give yourself that. Because for you, that's what makes you feel safe and secure enough to let your love come through. Without that condition, you contract. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if you feel like you're operating within the boundaries you think you need, then you kind of open up more, and that's what you want is the love. The form doesn't matter. What matters is the content. So people a lot of times will hear me talk and they'll say, what are you saying? It's okay for somebody to just do anything? Yeah, the truth is, it is okay for people to do whatever they choose to do. But what you need to do is love yourself enough to want to be in a relationship with an equal and someone who has a common value system as you.
That's right.
But that's not the way an unhappy, miserable mind does it. An unhappy, fearful mind makes sure they're attracted to the person that's just the opposite of everything that makes them feel safe. So the one person they'll be attracted to if they're monogamous is a person who wants a more polyamorous, open relationship. That's if they're going to go for it as sure as they can. And then that person who said they want the open kind of relationship, I'm just using examples, then they're going to go for the one whose Mother Teresa, want to make sure there's nobody else at any level. Why? Because if I got what I wanted and I felt peace, that would decrease my fear, that would decrease my ego, and I join with God faster. Because the less fear I have, the more join with love I feel. So if I don't believe I deserve love, I'm going to choose an opposite so that I can constantly be seeking what I don't have. Keeping myself in conflict. Because conflict, the Course says, is what our separate ego self needs to survive. In order to stay separate, I have to feel afraid of you. Have you noticed that when you feel fear, you feel separate? You contract? We know that. So fear is what you need to stay separate at some level. Until you wake up, then you use the separation as a unique way for you to express your talents and your love and your gift. So what used to be your specialness that you used against yourself, the separation, now it becomes the gift you offer to the world in terms of your own unique expression. You follow what I just said?
Beautiful, right?
Yeah. At first I wanted to be separate from you. Now, and I got a body to do that. Now I want to use this separate body to bring the truth and love and peace into the world.
Yes.
So now I still got what it looks to be different, but now the purpose coming through this body is different. Okay? And so the Course says, fear and love are the only emotions of which you are capable. So what are the two emotions we're capable of according to the Course? Fear and love. Okay. Then it says, one is false. Which one?
Fear.
And it says, for what? Fear is made out of denial. Denial of what? Love. So whenever I feel fear, I should say, right now I'm denying love with you. What? Right now I'm denying there's love between us. Right now I am totally denying there is love between us.
Right.
That's what conscious being explains it. See why? Because by me saying I am denying love, in the next sentence part of the sentence it says what? Denial depends on the belief in what is denied for its own existence. What does that mean? Just what it said. If I'm denying love, there must be love to be denied. So the fact that I denied love means I believe there is love, and that's what I'm doing when I'm afraid I'm denying love, which really means I'm witnessing to the reality that love exists.
I'm denying what I really believe.
Right, now check that out. So into love you could put God, right? So you could also say that the denial of God depends on the belief in what is denied for its existence. So if I'm a person that says I deny God, I don't believe in a higher power, then you think that there's, at some level, you've got the idea of a higher power, for me to be able to deny it. So even denial could be used to your advantage. Do you know how the Course says you should use denial? It says you should deny that anything not of God can affect you. So in other words, if it didn't come from God, I'm not giving it any power. If it doesn't come from love, I'm not giving you any power. If you're not coming from love, I'm not giving you any power.
Right.
The only people I'm giving value in my life are those who are extending peace to me. Those who are attacking me have no value. They're not helpful. Except that they are called for love and they are called for help. That's helping me remember love. But that's pretty much it. I'm not going to call you and say, let's go out. My inner circle is going to be supportive.
That's right.
My inner circle is going to be supportive. That's where I'm drawing the line. I'm drawing the line because my personal friendships, that's the most obvious thing that's my choice. I may not seem like I got a choice with my kids, to have a relationship with them or not, even though you choose not to be with them too. If you can handle the guilt,
Right.
or in some cases the subsequent joy. You know? I just don't deserve this much happiness. Or, you know, because some people don't like the cheering.
That's right.
As we said in the South, they're cheering. That's right. Some people do, some people don't. But some people, Christmas is the absolute worst time of the year for them. It's not all jolly for them because of the cause for love in their own family. While some people, it's a happy time. You know, but the Christmas is neutral. So the Course says what? And I take it slow because the Course in Miracles says take it slow. I'd rather you remember one thing out of one paragraph I covered than for me to cover 3 pages that nobody remember anything that I just got through saying. You know, even though your party might be saying, move along, move along. I'm not going to give you more stuff to forget.
Thank you.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you for being so lovely.
Right. So, and I'm doing it this way so that you can see that the Course in Miracles isn't as hard to tackle as your mind will tell you. What could be more simple than this? If you're feeling fear, you're feeling a sense of loss. If you see it in others and you supply the loss, by seeing it as a call for love and asking what to do, then the Course in Miracles says you're removing the fear. There's only two things you're capable of, fear or love. One is false, and we decided that was what? Fear, which is false evidence appearing real. Right? And then it says, what is fear made out of? Denial. Well, the denial depends on what? The belief in love and what's denied for its existence. Then it says what? By interpreting fear correctly. That's important. What do I need to do if I'm fearful and upset and angry? I need to interpret it how correctly. Then it says, well, how do you interpret fear correctly? It's a positive affirmation. So I'm supposed to see fear as a positive affirmation. Wow. I do positive affirmations a lot. Do you do positive affirmations a lot based on this? Right? And what did he say? The Course in Miracles says, a positive affirmation of the underlying belief that it masks. So this is the most important sentence in this whole section to me. He says, what do you do when you're afraid and upset? Well, you have to interpret it correctly. So what is it? It's a denial. So that means fear is actually a positive affirmation that you have an underlying belief in love.
Yes.
And your fear is hiding that. So that's what makes fear a positive affirmation. If I'm afraid of you, it means there's some love that's supposed to be coming down that's not coming down right now. So the fear is a positive affirmation of the love that's being denied that the fear is hiding. So if every time you say, I fear someone, or if I'm angry at them, and I was to understand that that is just a positive affirmation of the underlying belief in love that anger and upset is masking, it says you are undermining fear's perceived usefulness and that you're rendering it useless. So then I work back. Okay, the end of that sentence says rendering it fear useless. So I need to pay attention to whatever was said right before that, right? How do I render fear useless? He says, well, the way that you render fear useless is by recognizing what the fear is trying to hide.
Yes.
Right? If fear is trying to hide something and I remember what it's trying to hide, the fear is useless now. Think about what I just said. If the purpose of fear is to make me lose sight of love, and I use fear to remind me of love, then fear has no purpose anymore.
That's good.
If I see myself as having lack, but the purpose of lack is to hide my abundance, right? Then every time I say I'm broke or in lack in some way, it's a positive affirmation that I believe there's some abundance and wealth and prosperity for me that I'm hiding, that I don't see. See, not seeing something is not the same as not having it. When you say you lost something, it don't mean it don't exist, that wallet don't exist anymore. It just means you don't remember where the wallet is. When you say I lost my wallet. The wallet didn't go up in a puff of smoke. Yeah. It exists, but you just don't remember where it is. That's what the Course in Miracles is saying to us. You know, love exists. You just don't remember where it is, how it is, and how to avail yourself of it. But all day long, you're probably making a lot of positive affirmations of your belief in it because you're upset about one thing or another, and you wouldn't be upset about one thing or another unless you believe there was some peace possible for you that you're not getting. That's why I'm mad. I know I deserve more than what I'm giving myself. Why am I upset in this relationship? Because I know I deserve more than what I'm giving myself. That's why I'm mad. That's what the anger is. It's the recognition that I deserve peace. That's what sickness is. It's the recognition that I have some health I am denying. So I could just say, wow, right now, God, I'm denying health right now. So what did I do? I witnessed to the reality of health. So I rendered the sickness useless. Because now it's not hiding what my ego created it to do, which was to make me think I'm a body.
Right.
You are not a body, you are not a body. You are not a body, you are not a body. You are not a body. You are not a body, you are not a body. You are not a body. You are not a body, you are not a body. You are not a body. You are not a body, you are not a body. You are not a body. You are not a bodies. That's what you are. You are all not a bodies. Right?
Nobody.
So what are you? You are free.
Yes.
What are you? You are free.
Yes, I want to be
You're
free.
free. Do you know what the Course in Miracles definition of freedom is? It says freedom is of the mind. So when you say you're free, you're a free thinker. You have a free mind. You can think anything you want to think. I can think anything about you all I want to think right now. There's not one of you all can stop me in any way. None of us can limit each other's thought except by our own agreement. I might not be able to do anything in behavior, but nobody here can stop me from thinking what I want to think. And whatever I think, I'm going to experience. So I better darn sure, if I love myself, make sure I'm thinking something that's helpful. Right? Because I'm going to live in the world of my thoughts. I'm going to live in the world that's projected from my consciousness.
Right.
That's everything in your life is coming from your consciousness. Everything in your life is coming from your consciousness. Everything and everybody, in every situation, in every circumstance is coming from your consciousness.
Wow.
And the Course in Miracles defines consciousness as what? Your level of interpretation. I love that definition. Your consciousness is the level you interpret things on. That's your level of consciousness. So if you don't know what level of consciousness a person is on, listen to their judgments, and you'll know immediately the level of consciousness that that person is on.
Wow.
Okay.
Just listen to what they're saying, because perception is judgment. Everything you see, you're judging it, because you're the one that's defining it. You can't define it without judging it. Wow. So I'm just seeing my judgments all around me. My past ones, my present ones, and potentially my future ones, all around me. That's what I'm looking at. So the Course in Miracles says, I'll say it again, by interpreting fear correctly as a positive affirmation of the underlying belief it makes. So what is fear hiding?
Love.
Okay, your belief in love. He says, so what are you doing when you interpret fear as a call for love? You are undermining its usefulness. So since it doesn't have any use for you anymore, he says, you're rendering it useless. Defenses that do not work at all, like fear, like no longer works, upset no longer works. Why? Because I know my upset is just a denial of the peace that I know I deserve. So now my upset has no useful purpose. Well, the Course says right here, it says defenses that do not work at all are automatically discarded. You get to the point that I've reprogrammed myself so much over the years of teaching this, that when I think crazy stuff, my mind autocorrects sort of like how the computers do now. It's the weirdest thing. I'll go, that person really upset me. Autocorrect, you made yourself upset. Autocorrect.
That's cool.
It does it now. I don't even even if I tried it, I'm getting ready to get all upset. Oh, positive denial of the pieces beneath it. You're retraining your mind. Just like you used to automatically think crappy stuff that you thought you couldn't help thinking. You know how you didn't need no help to feel bad.
Right.
To tell yourself something negative was the easiest thing in the world. To tell yourself something positive, effort. When you change your mind, it's the opposite. The easiest thing to do would be to say something loving and conscious to yourself, and it'll get harder and harder to condemn and judge yourself. It's going to flip on you, which is great. Now, but in between, you're going to be kind of nuts. Okay? Now,
But you already were.
right, in other words, you should feel pretty much at home. So, the transition shouldn't be that hard. Right? What does that mean? Y'all know you're going to be going back and forth between the two ways of thinking. 1 minute you're going to be back in victim consciousness, blaming everybody else for what you're going through because that's a programming. And then sometimes you're going to be saying, I'm responsible for what I see. I'm the most innocent child of God there is. And so the people around you are not going to know when you're going to flip from one to another, and they're going to think you're crazy sometimes, because you'll think you're disoriented and confused. Because the people who are absolutely sure they're victims, right, and don't like people and see them as separate, they don't have any doubt about that. So in a sense, they're not going back and forth between two belief systems. So it looks like they're pretty peaceful. Human beings are crap. I can't trust people. And I'm sure about that. See, there's no conflict. Then the conscious being is going, everything is love or call for love. Only love is real. Only love is real. I'm not giving any reality to projection, blame, guilt, anger, or lack. There's nothing but love or call for love. There's only, so I'm not in conflict, right? So, but us, right? We're learning to leave the old thought, and we haven't completely embraced the new thought.
Right.
So he says we're going to be going through disorientation and confusion. So don't So confusion is a very high state when you're on the path. When you're not on the path, confusion is just confusion. But if you're on the path, confusion means I have completely let go of the old way of looking at things, and I have completely embraced the new way of looking at things. So I'm confused, I'm disoriented. So it's a good, so in other words, that's good news. It means you begin to release your old thinking if you're disoriented and confused right now. That's good news. Hello, that's good news, right? Yeah, all right. Okay, all right. And so the Course in Miracles says that defenses that don't work at all are what? Automatically discarded. Then it tells you again, you don't have to analyze the Course. He assumes that you won't know nothing that you read. So you keep reading, the Course says it another way. If you raise what fear conceals, what is fear concealing? Love. So if you raise love to clear-cut, unequivocal predominance, if eyes go, all I want is love, all I want is peace, all I want is love, all I want is peace, all I want is love, all I want is peace, no matter what, then the Course in Miracles says fear then becomes meaningless.
Yeah.
So when all I want is love, fear doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
When all I want is peace, I'm not looking for something that's keeping me in conflict and attack all the time. That stuff don't mean nothing to Earl anymore. You know, you want to get rid of me quick, I'll tell you. And some people really want to know how. Okay. I just saw some people go.
We're listening.
It's white, it's white.
It has already been accomplished. It's already happened. Oh, the more I learn about forgiveness in the Course in Miracles, the more I realize I'm learning how to forgive so I can forgive what I think I did in the past. The kind of crappy husband I was in my 20s. Or father, or whatever, when I didn't know. And it was just, I was a tyrant and selfish and wanted everybody to do what I wanted to do. I lived my life like everybody was supposed to serve me. And that was the purpose of life, for them to act out my fantasies and do it my way and make me happy. And I was upset with them because they didn't do it the way I wanted them to do it. And they didn't fulfill the script that I made for them. And so I was mad and angry. Broken in two by periods in which it looked like I was a nice guy. Right?
Yeah.
Then you begin to wake up and you see how selfish you were and unconscious you were and unloving you were. And then you have to forgive yourself for the way that you were. It doesn't, at that point, it's not about me forgiving my father for his alcoholism and the way he could have been as a result of that. Because now I saw it as his call for love. It's called for help. Now I don't see it the way I saw it as a child because my mind has changed. Wow. But if I still want to keep referencing the way my father was, that's the excuse for me not being happy right now, that's the payoff. The payoff is I can use him to keep me from taking responsibility for myself and my happiness right now. That's the payoff. I don't have to do nothing for myself because I can keep blaming my daddy forever. You dropped me on my head when I was out of my crib, and I haven't been able to be okay and have a date since. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna give everything I'm going through a past reason when I'm not ready to be free now. So if you're around somebody and all you hear about is everything that happened in the past that's making them miserable, there's a payoff in that.
That's right.
Now, it doesn't mean you aren't to be compassionate, because we've already learned how we're supposed to see it. As a call for love, a call for help, a call for healing. So that's okay. And so the last sentence says, you have denied what? Fear's power to conceal love. He says, which was fear's only purpose. So what is the only purpose of fear? To hide love. What's the purpose of anger? To hide love. What's the purpose of lack and sickness? To hide love. What's the purpose of separation? To hide love. To hide the oneness. So could we then say the world is almost like this thing that hides love?
Yes.
It's almost like a blanket that we cover ourselves up with, the blanket of fear. Because when I was a kid and I was afraid, that's what I did. I put a blanket over my head as if the blanket protected me. Right? Right? So fear is not protecting us. Our fear is not protecting us.
I'm so glad.
But what it is doing is saying, I know there's a lot of love right here, but I am not experiencing it. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
There's health, and right now this fear around the virus is hiding the health, the awareness of health.
Yeah.
And so we're not hearing about health, We're hearing about sickness, which is trying to mask the awareness that we could be healed and whole.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you were to say there are 100,000 people who are calling for health and healing in the world, and when you were defining those people, now you're using the sickness to wake you up and the whole world up. All you have to do is be willing to use the interpretations that the Course in Miracles is using of what's going on in the world to free yourself. And we're already given the interpretations. It's like it's already here on the page. All I have to do is say, oh, okay, this is what you're telling me. Oh, that's what it is. This is how I should see it. Oh, okay, so let me start calling it a call for love. Now, it also said I didn't have to believe it, didn't have to accept it, and didn't have to welcome it. Okay, so I can let go of that thing of I need to believe this before I use this. Because what could be easier than not having to believe it, but I could use it? Because the one thing I can't do is say what I don't believe.
That's right.
I've got a lot of practice with that. None of us should have a problem with being able to say stuff that we don't really believe. That's called almost like what us humans do all the time. I love that dress. I hate it. But I'm saying something that I don't believe. We do it all the time. So what would be a more brilliant strategy than our spiritual teacher to say, this is a course for people who don't believe? I got y'all covered too.
Right.
Those of you who are afraid and angry, I got a plan for you too. That's what's so beautiful about this. Love has a plan for all of us, no matter where we are. And love accepts us where we are. Somebody that loves you don't say, when you get to step 5, that's when I'm swooping in to help you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people do.
Yeah.
Somebody that really loves you meets you where you are, and then together you're uplifted. Right? So how do I know if I'm with somebody who's uplifted me? They're reminding me that I am loved, and that what I'm doing is a call for love. That's how I know. Because this book has taught me how to recognize how somebody's going to treat me who loves me, and it taught me how to recognize how someone who would treat me who didn't. I don't have a problem not hanging out with someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
But if you say to somebody they love you, but they're constantly mistreating you, and they're saying they love you, and they're constantly mistreating you, and they're saying they love you, that is really will jam you up. Because you know that you're not experiencing the kind of treatment that you think you deserve, but they keep saying they love you. So you're tempted to hang in there. But if I knew you didn't love me, oh, you're attacking me, you're projecting on me, you're blaming me, you're trying to make me feel guilty about everything, you're not recognizing who I really am, you don't see me as love, you think I'm responsible for your happiness, then I know you don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be so hard for me to choose out of that form of relationship. Because I've already been trained not to love and give my attention to someone who's mistreating me and don't really care about me. But if I say that's love, I'll hang in there. And what did we learn? Well, if you grew up in a household that the people who were supposed to love you were abusing you in some way, you would have been wired to think that that's how someone that loves you treats you.
Yeah.
Right? So you would unconsciously be attracted to people who abused you because that was what you learned love is. And then someone who was being kind to you, you would have a tendency to have suspicion of them. That's why when you reach a certain level of consciousness, you cannot join in an intimate relationship with someone who absolutely do not love themselves. Because they'll misperceive you as not being the unloving one. Why? Because I will not put up with your guilt trip. I'm going to take responsibility and expect you to also move toward taking responsibility. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I'm not going to put up with the games that a mind that doesn't love itself plays.
That's right.
Because you'll stop playing those games. Oh, you're trying to make me feel guilty? Oh, no. I may be making a mistake. A mistake is for correction. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. But you're trying to say the condition that I was created as a child of God is untrue? Then you're not helping me. I already believe that. I'm trying to get past that. This relationship should be helping both of us get past limiting beliefs, not reinforce them.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. If I'm already cool by myself, I don't want to get with you unless it's going to improve things for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm already happy, why should I get with you and then go into all this effort work all the time? I'm working on my relationship. I'm working on my relationship. I'm working on my... Why not play? Why not play in your relationship and learn? Who says that learning has to be accomplished by pain?
Right.
Think about it. Think about it. We made that up. No pain, no gain.
Yes.
We made that crap up. And then we struggle and wonder why. Well, you believe no pain, no gain. You believe life should be a struggle. You just said it. No pain, no gain.
Life should be pain.
Yeah, that's what the ego, and that's what the ego teaches us.
Yes.
That life is pain, right? And so the last line goes, you have denied fear's power to conceal love, which was what? The only purpose of fear. So the veil, which is fear, that you have drawn across love's face has disappeared. Because once I know that fear is just a denial of the love that I know is there, then I've lifted the veil of what fear was to see the reality of what the fear is. It was hiding that there's a ton of love for me, and I've been hiding it. There's a ton of love for you,
us.
and you've been hiding it. So every
Yes.
time you get upset now,
Yeah.
it should become a reminder that there's some love available to you that you may not be allowing yourself to be aware of.
Thank
But
you.
you acknowledge yourself here and as much Holy Spirit is. But you acknowledge your mighty companions in the room. Yes. So when you see the news, now you know how you're supposed to look at the news.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Did y'all see all those calls for love that's happening across the globe right now? Are you seeing all those calls for God that's happening right now? Now, and you ask, what should I do?
That's right.
Some people, they're going to be told to be activists, and they'll be out marching in the street. Some people will be told to meditate. Some people will be told to say. So you can't judge what people are doing because we can't judge. So
Right.
therefore, you don't know what that's about. Because I've heard truth students go, well, you shouldn't be an activist because you're making the illusion real. Well, the truth is, you should do whatever you're told
That's right.
by your spiritual self. If your guidance said go march, you go march. You certainly don't do it because of somebody else's opinion. I'll say it again. You certainly don't not do it because of somebody else's opinion.
That's right.
And I think that's what social media has done, that's a call for God to me. It's given people the inordinate belief that their opinions matter. Because that's what happens all the time on social media. Everybody's telling you their opinion, how they feel about it, what they feel about you, and what you're doing. It's always funny when I see that even in my ministry. Who are you? What? Who are you? You know, that your opinion should matter when it's against what my heart is telling me to do. You know, my heart is, and I know that it's not going to be God telling me to do something that has anything to do with attack. So it's nothing. So God is not going to tell you to attack somebody.
Right.
So it's not that hard to tell when love is guiding you. You won't be attacking people. You won't be trying to make everybody feel guilty, and you won't be using anger to manipulate others.
Right.
Right. You know, I won't be trying to get you to do what I want you to do by being so mad at you that you'll give in and follow my control over you. But I will use my anger to wake me up by making me aware that my anger means I'm denying the peace that's available to me right now. My anger is telling me that there's a script that I want somebody to act out that they're not acting out, and that's why I'm angry. I can realize that my anger is an attempt to make someone feel guilty. Now I'm using my anger to wake me up. It's a call for peace. My anger is a call for peace, so my anger should be telling me choose peace. The anger is telling me to choose peace. See what I'm saying? My anger is saying, choose peace, choose peace, choose peace. You know, and you may say it in a way that appears really angry. You might go, we need to choose peace. I'm trying to figure out how to have some peace with your brother right now. That's the way you are when you're conscious. It doesn't mean you repress. It doesn't mean you suppress. It doesn't mean you smile all the time when you feel like taking somebody out. It means you're authentic. It means you tell yourself the truth about how you're feeling, but to tell yourself the truth about it would be to realize if you're upset, telling yourself the truth means this is a positive affirmation of the love beneath this that I'm in denial of. That's me telling myself the truth about my anger. Not me telling you I'm upset because of the clothes you're wearing. That ain't the truth. That has nothing to do with why I'm upset. I'm upset because I'm making myself upset about the clothes you're wearing. That's why I'm upset. I'm making myself upset about the clothes you're wearing. So you're never upset for the reason you think. Whenever you think you're upset because of what you're seeing, you're upset because of your interpretation of what you're seeing. Wow. Now, does that mean I don't get mad? Of course not. If I already knew how to choose for peace in every situation, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here, you all, if I knew how to do everything I was teaching you all. I'm learning it by teaching it. That's the beauty of it. The Course says your desire to teach or demonstrate something, it comes up because you're learning it. That's how you tell you're really beginning to get this, is you'll find yourself wanting to demonstrate it. Until you want to demonstrate it, you're just talking. And let's face it, talking is a stage.
It's a stage.
Yeah, obviously. But some people just get stuck there. They can rattle off passages of the Course in Miracles. They can quote metaphysical books. They can talk about all the different teachers to teach the truth that they're quoting. Can't express or demonstrate none of it. But the first step is hearing it.
That's right.
So that's cool. That's cool. All right, so let's do the love offering. And I appreciate you all sharing with me. I'm a full-time teacher, and I love doing what I'm doing, and I make my classes available at no definite charge because it's what I'm on the planet to do. It's why I'm here.
That's wonderful. Thank God.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And I tell you what, you can't be self-employed if you don't believe in God or some higher power if you want to do it in peace. I'm not saying you can't be self-employed and don't believe in a higher power, but I'm saying you're going to struggle a whole lot more and you'll probably be a whole lot more afraid. So please, those of you who think you hate your job and you want to quit your job because you want to do your own thing, listen carefully, because a lot of people don't like what they do. You can listen carefully. Don't quit your job if you have not really been cultivating a faith in your relationship to the Creator.
Amen.
Or you just be scaring the hell out of yourself even more than you are right now. Because it takes a different mindset to be self-employed than it does to be employed. Completely.
Yes.
And most people who are complaining about it are employed.
Right.
And so they're frustrated out of the money that is coming in. Right? But then they go, I want to quit. Okay, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't. But I am saying you need to have another mindset other than the one where you don't have to work as hard to receive the money. Because most jobs, if you can show up and don't die during the day, then you get your check at the end of the week.
That's right.
But when I'm not producing, it will look like I'm not receiving. But that's not true anymore in the sense that the Holy Spirit promised that everyone who's willing to fulfill their function would be given the money that they need to stay.
Yep.
That's the promise that the Course gives us in the supplement to Question of Payment. That if you do what you were born to do, you're being provided for anyway.
Right.
But the truth is you'll see that you're being provided for. And that's the difference. If you're surrounded by love and you don't see it, it's as if it's not there. If you love yourself, you'll see you're surrounded by love, so therefore you can appreciate it. So you're always receiving love. You may not be seeing it because you got the mask on, and the mask is the fear. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, Earl Purdy, PURDY.com. And if you want to use Venmo, my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. It's a hard email. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm available for one-on-one personal sessions called Clarity Sessions, where I use my 40 years of experience with astrology, soul purpose astrology and numerology, as well as to work with the Course in Miracles and other stuff that I've done. And we bring it into a session with you to show you another way to look at what you're going through so that you can receive and know that love that we're being promised. There is no excuse for you not having more peace in your life. There is no excuse.
Thank you.
Because there are too many answers that are being provided all around that you can take advantage of. That's the beauty of the internet and all that stuff. Like when people look at it negative, I know what's going on. That there are millions of people around the world who are receiving the truth right now in ways they never could have done before the internet.
That's right.
I'm doing it, and I've been doing it for 20 years and nobody's heard of me. Right? For real. And so there are thousands of needs. People that got groups just like I'm doing that are sharing the same thing that I'm sharing. There's a movement that is happening that is so powerful that we see the insanity that's coming up in the world that's supposed to distract us and hide the love that's really happening. Because light, the love brings up everything unlike itself. So as soon as you say you love somebody, don't be shocked if everything between you that seems opposite to that comes up. It's because you said you loved each other.
Right.
So everything that's not love needs to be purified and needs to be released.
That's right.
And if that comes up and you don't really have a commitment to you all's holy relationship, then anything can break it up.
That's right.
But if you do have a commitment to loving each other and using your relationship for awakening and truth and healing, then everything that comes up would be just another opportunity for you to practice what you are learning together. It becomes a living lab. Why? Because I love you. So therefore, what comes up between us is not going to be enough to stop me from wanting to get past the block. So that's why I ask people when I'm counseling them, how do you love each other? What? Like you get the most incredible looks when you ask people stuff like that. Yeah, are you in love? Well, then why are you together?
Business arrangement.
Business arrangement. It's a business arrangement. Yeah. And guess what? You're not guilty. You're not bad. Don't take anything that I'm saying as guilty of, that it means you're guilty or bad. I'm saying, if you're in a relationship, the purpose of the relationship should be, according to this, which you don't have to agree, but the purpose of the relationship should be to remove the blocks to the awareness of love between you and in you. That it should be moving you more toward the light and toward the love. It's not there so that you don't have somebody, so you're not alone in your old age, and that you got somebody to go out with on Saturday night, and you got someone to make you feel financially and materially secure. Those are all fear-based reasons to be in a relationship. You're a grown-ass person. You can take care of yourself. So you should be looking for somebody else to do that for you. That's not love. I'm trying to get you to take care of me. It's not love. That's a bargain. But it's a call for love. It's a call for God. It's another opportunity to recognize the truth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nothing I'm saying should be seen as a judgment or a criticism in the sense that there's nothing that I'm saying that's not a reflection of love and a call for love. But we're just discussing the forms that it comes in. Right? That's what we're doing right now. You had your hand up, Doc?
Oh yeah, I was just saying, it's just kind of this idea of, adding more love, but it's also like you have a leg sprain and you put some nuclear medicine on it and it feels better, at the hospital, but you walk outside and all of a sudden it hurts again. So, love, like this kind of stickiness of love is like that because love originates inside and it is a relationship with God. And
Exactly.
so if we have this relationship with God, then we're able to have relationships with other people in a hospital, outside of a hospital, in a church, outside of a hospital, outside of a church. So it's all equal at that point. So I think that's the unity thought.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's all about God. It's ultimately all about that. But God is no more real to me than you are. When people get a gift, what is the first thing that many of them say? Thank you, God.
Right.
Most people, when something wonderful happens, they don't go, thank you, Earl, if I was the one that gave them it. They'll go, they may do that, but you also hear people go, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what's happening. We are consciously or unconsciously attributing what we receive to God, no matter what it is. Life is giving me a lot of pain, or I'm going to go, life is giving me so much love and so much joy. Thank you, God. So your relationship with God is a reflection of your relationship with each other. That's what the truth teaches. Because you see, we'll go into denial, and I'm going to keep emphasizing that. There's nothing that we like to do more than pretend we are where we're not yet.
Yes.
So we'll pretend we're the most loving people in the world, the most caring people in the world, the one that's so responsible, wouldn't hurt a fly. Then why is your life full of so much chaos in your perception?
That's right.
If you're really that way, why do you have such judgments about things? Or why are you upset? So your feelings are the one right use of judgment. If you pay attention to how you feel, because you talk yourself into or out of anything. But if you'll be honest and you tune in, you know whether you feel contracted or expanded. You know whether you're moving away from me or you're moving toward me. Because truth students, see, your ego is reading the books along with you. The part of you that thinks it's separate and afraid is reading this right along with me, and it doesn't have any problem with twisting this around in such a way that perpetuates your old ego just the way it has been. So you'll tell yourself that you're loving everybody around you, but your world is a three-dimensional mirror of your consciousness. So pay attention to your present moment, because whatever is real is what's happening in your life right now. That's what's real. It's what's happening to right now.
Right.
If we were going to reach, if I was going to call anybody that I knew in this world on the telephone, and I wanted to reach them, I could only reach them now. We're all connected in now. Even people that you know in other countries. Right now, they are existing, right? So it's right now that all the connections happen. The connections don't happen in the future. The connections are no longer happening. It's what's now it's where all your power is. That's where the love is. The love is now. And this is what this is teaching us right now. Right now. Right now. So on Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. on Facebook Live, on the Earl Purdy page, I do what I call hardcore Course in Miracles. And I tell people online, this is for people who decided that the Course in Miracles is their spiritual path. And they want to take advantage of how to do that better. It is not to convince anyone, analyze with anyone, defend with anyone. That's not what it's like people who've already decided they want to go to flight school and now they want to learn how to fly the plane. It's not for the people who are trying to decide if they want to go to flight school, if it is a good flight school, if the instructor is a good instructor. This is not, then please bypass the things that I'm doing. Okay? And so because I have 40 years that I've been obsessed with this, and there's only so much I can do in the class without people having done some studying on their own. Or you just lose them when you're talking. So don't think for a second that the level you see me communicating the Course in Miracles on with you is the highest level of communicating the Course in Miracles that I'm capable of. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what you call it. The Course of Deviant, you know what I'm saying? The Course Agra is what I call it. Okay, so, and if you want to, if you're ready, you've had enough. If you've had enough and you're ready to go the better way, I'm here to help. If you've had enough. If you want to be right, great. If you want to be happy, you might have to be wrong about the way you're seeing it. And I know the truth says every direction is the right direction and that you can't make any wrong choices. But you won't live long enough to try all of them. Okay, at the level of the body, this should be real. Every direction can be used by the Holy Spirit to take you where you want to go. The Holy Spirit could get me downtown by way of Asia. I would eventually get there, but it would have been easier to just go down Colfax.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not let something show me the shorter, easier, faster way rather than my ego going, well, everything is right. Yeah, but the level of the body, everything isn't. I'm not going to say it's right-minded for me to hit you upside the head with a bat because it's all good. It may be at some unknown level that I don't understand. It may be serving the best purpose in the world. But at the level of consciousness I'm on, I'd like to believe that's wrong-minded for me to want to hurt you.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Don't throw out your common sense because you're now saying that you're on a spiritual path. Because it's where I've seen people throw their common sense out the most. Is when they think they're spiritual. You know, if somebody walk up and all of a sudden every hair on your body stands up and you feel like that's not the right person, and then you turn around and talk yourself into it because you're spiritual. You see, that's not what it's about. It's about learning how to listen to yourself, not how to ignore yourself. So y'all awesome. Y'all incredible. You're blessings. And don't not come to my classes because I tell you that. So I'll talk to y'all the next time. All right, see y'all. Well, that's so cool. So there's a list up here I'm trying to get of the people who are actually studying the Course in Miracles. Because I'm going to create some workshops just especially for you. So I would like to know who you are so that when I do it, I can let you know. So there's a notebook up here for that. And also there's another one to put you on my mailing list. But just go to my contact list. The things that I'm going to be doing more and more, I need to let you know. So just take a little time to go to my website, sign up for the contact list. That's the least you can do if you really say you want this. You know, that's how you'll know you're sincere.
Now, how many Bath and Body Work emails do you get?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So guess what?
What?
You all are rendering fear and lack and pain useless. And that's
Yes.
what you were doing today. Okay, hugs are available, y'all. Come on. Give up some love to yourselves. Give up some love to yourselves. And to me. I still have a little few bargains going. I need some love.
needs some love.
So.